Hey everybody, it's Josh. Just wanted to do a quick video. Had some things on my mind. I was talking to my uncle, and something that comes up a lot. I really do think one of the tricks in life, one of the main things that kind of hamper us, is that we're just miserable when we're thrown into a situation that we don't want to be in. Now, life throws all kinds of stuff at you. You know, you're going to have all these things happen to you. I'm going to move away from the road here. You're going to have things happen to you where you just have no choice. You know, maybe for the longest time I wanted to move to the beach. And my wife and I did everything we could. My plan was to move to Raleigh, North Carolina, with my job, and then eventually move down to Wilmington whenever my job, I worked for fixing gas pumps, and whenever the company moved down there, that was their plan at the time, I would move down with them. And all of this desire, I told myself over and over that's the only way I could be happy was living by the beach, because I grew up from about the age of 4 to 8. I lived on an island off the coast of Georgia, and just everything was wrapped up in that. I was like, I will not be happy until we get to that beach, because I need that beach in my life. And God had other plans. I didn't think I would like the Raleigh area. You know, there wasn't the outdoor stuff to do. There wasn't, I liked either the beach or the mountains. And there wasn't. Obviously, I was stuck right in the middle of each of those. But I started thinking, and it happened during my spiritual rebirth or awakening or whatever you want to call it. And we tell ourselves these things because we have that the grass is always greener vibe going on. The grass is always greener on the other side. And it's really not. The good old days weren't always as good as you thought they were. And the future is never what you're going to expect it to be. You could be packing up and moving to a completely different state, different country. Who knows? You could have some kind of disaster happen that changes everything in life. And these things happen, and of course, when tragedies or traumas happen, it's going to just throw us into some kind of spiral. Because we start thinking, oh, this little slice of contentment that I had in my life is just done. So now, since the future is unknown, now I just don't know what to do. I was thinking since, obviously my grandparents have all passed away now, and my parents are sick and, old, and it's harder and harder to take care of them. And I was talking to my uncle, and we were talking about, he was saying, I've already accepted one day I'm probably going to be sent to a nursing home unless something happens to me before that. And I was like, you can sit and worry about things that might or might not happen. And what good does that do you? It does nothing. You know, you hear the thing about living in the present. And it's not just like a narcissist, or not a narcissistic thing, but a hedonistic thing. We live in the present because the present is all that matters right now. If you can learn to take in that beauty and take in any good thing that you can find, and even the bad things, you have to say, okay, this is just temporary. Just like the good things, it's all temporary. We don't know what's in store for us. We don't know what God has in store for us. You know, my uncle was saying that about the nursing homes. And I was saying, of course, nobody wants to go to a nursing home. You know, you want to be with your family. You want to be where you're comfortable. You just don't want to be in there with a bunch of old sick people and having to worry about that. But my grandma, she died, I guess it's been probably maybe 10 years ago. It's time runs together. It's been a while. And before she died, she had to go into a nursing home for just a couple weeks. We were going away, and she was recovering from a hip surgery. And my grandmother was the type of person who could make a friend anywhere she went. She loved talking to people. She loved being around people. And, you know, she was real worried about it. She didn't want to go. But she got there, and when we got home and picked her up, she had the most amazing time. She had made friends with so many people there. She ended up buying donuts for a bunch of them, which, you know, my uncle and I were saying, you know, she bought those donuts, they probably, for a bunch of people that weren't supposed to have them, you know, diabetics and hypoglycemics and all those people. But, you know, she made the most of what was seemingly a bad situation. And I get it. There's so many things that we just, it's like, well, there's nothing good about this situation. There's always something good about this situation. It's just like I said, and I did a video on pain versus suffering, and how pain is just the actual physical reaction to something, you know, some kind of bad thing that happens to you. You get a cut, you feel pain. Suffering is what our mind projects and thinks, the judgments it makes about that pain, how we deal with that pain. So we say we get a cut on our arm, and then we're like, oh man, that's gonna fester, that's gonna just never heal right, it's gonna turn into cancer, and I'm gonna die from it. And oh, you can be pessimistic or you can be optimistic. And you can say, oh, well, it's easier said than done. Well, I can't just make myself think these happy thoughts all the time. You absolutely can. You absolutely can, and you should. You should train yourself to just say, I'm going to find the best out of every moment that I'm in my life. And I'm going to be thankful for every moment. If I'm here around a bunch of people who, you know, a bunch of family who are, you know, sick, you know, who knows how long they have left to live. I hope they have a long time, but we don't know. We could all die tomorrow. An asteroid could just hit the earth and we could all be gone. Are you going to sit and worry about that? What good does that do anyone? What good does that do the people around you? Who wants to be around someone who is constantly worrying about every bad thing that could happen in their life? You know, me as a father, I, as I said, I used to be exactly like that. I think many of us are. And I would sit and I would be like, we're cursed. You know, nothing good is gonna happen. I'm just waiting for the next tragedy. Just sitting here, you know, in self-pity and feeling sorry for myself, just worrying what's gonna happen next. What are we gonna deal with? Is it gonna be somebody sick? Am I gonna have to have another back surgery? Who knows? There was a list of things that were just piling up, and I would worry about them all the time, and it would make me sick sometimes. You lay awake worrying. Then, when I was saved, God lifted all of that pain, all that suffering, not the pain, He lifted the suffering away from me. He gave me the inner peace. And I know I talked to you, so many of you in the comments, about the inner peace and how profound it is. That inner peace can be achieved even while you're working on your relationship with God. Before you ever hear an answer from God, you ever find yourself. Let's let this car go by. Got the nice muffler on. Before you find yourself, before any of that, you can work first on just saying, I'm going to tell myself, no matter what I have to do, if I have to go into rehab, if I have to come off of a drug or stop gambling, if I have to change something, I'm not going to sit and think of all the miserable ways I'm going to be unhappy. I'm going to sit and think of all the things I'm thankful for. You know, I'm out here in the rain, but I'm in the woods and I'm hearing the birds chirp. And yeah, there's cars and stuff going by, but it's beautiful. Nature is beautiful. Life is beautiful. You know, I have a young daughter. I have two young daughters, but the oldest is very shy, and I tell her, you know, you have fun at school tomorrow, and she's like, it's not going to be fun. Well, I was like, well, if you tell yourself it's not going to be fun, it's definitely not going to be fun. I said, you can tell yourself every day, tomorrow is going to be a great day, or today is going to be a great day, and I'm going to have the most fun I could possibly have. And you will have bad days, sure, but they will be few and far between, and definitely you won't be sitting through your good days, the days where you should be enjoying life, saying, oh well, it's fine, it's great now, but tomorrow is just gonna suck. Why would you do that to yourself? Do you want to hold on to that suffering? Do you want to hold on to that anxiety? I understand that some people have, you know, mental health problems where their anxiety is just out of control and they can't tame it. But there still are things you can do. Every time you start feeling like that, start exercising, or start doing whatever you can to take your mind off of, oh, it's just gonna suck. Oh, it's gonna be awful. Like Eeyore on Winnie the Pooh, you know. Oh, things are awful, you know. I get it. It's easier said than done. But it really isn't that hard. It really isn't. You have the life that you're supposed to lead, that God wants you to have. He wants you to learn from all the hard things in your life. Yeah, you don't want to go through the hard things, but there is a reason for every single thing. So instead of sitting there worrying about the hard time you're in now or the hard time that's going to come that you don't know, because you don't know the future. There's no way you know the future. Instead of worrying about that, Start saying, what is the lesson of this hard time? What is the lesson of this suffering that I'm going through? And change your life. And when you get into that mindset, don't stop seeking God. Always seek God to have a relationship with Him, because that is the most important thing. Put down your video game controller or your phone or whatever you're doing that's wasting time, and go talk to God. Go find something that you can interact with Him. Pretend He's your best friend and your counselor, and tell Him all of your problems. You know, you have to do this alone, because when you're with anybody else, you're going to react. Even if you have your pet with you, that is going to take your focus off of connecting with God. Because people are like, oh, I've been trying to find God so much, but it's just not happening. Yeah, I was too, and I didn't think He was talking back. But guess what? I wasn't putting in the time and the effort. I would be focused on something else, and thinking about something else, or thinking about my problems, or thinking about all the hard times to come. It's just a mindset. He wants you to have that peace. He wants you to find it, because unless you work for it, unless you figure out how to change your life and change your mind and change everything about yourself that you don't like, that's making you miserable, then it's not going to mean anything. God could just come to you and say, oh, you're just in peace now. It's fine. What would that do? That would not change a damn thing. He has to show you how to do it yourself. And then He will guide you. He will. But we all lack the patience, and we lack the faith, and we lack the understanding, and we lack the focus. Let yourself be happy. You might not think you deserve it, but you do. And even if you think you don't deserve it, even if you've been a bad person and you just feel awful about the choices you've made in life, that doesn't mean a thing going forward. All that matters is what you turn yourself into, the person you become. Become who you want to be. There is nothing stopping you except for yourself. You can make excuses all day long. You can say anything, or it's not going to matter. You are the only one who can change you. So please do it. Please. Life is precious. Life is amazing. I am going through some of the hardest times I could have thought of. And my life is beautiful and amazing, because I understand how precious this all is. I want to thank you all for the prayers for my parents. My dad's doing better. My mom is still in the hospital, so we're waiting to see on that. I will try to talk to you all as much as I can and try to respond as much as I can, but it's harder for me to respond while I'm up here. But know that I'm reading all of your messages. I try to like and put the little heart thing on there, so you know I read it, and I take a lot of your comments and try to make my videos geared towards a lot of the themes of what I read. And a lot of the themes of what I've read so far, especially for the last couple videos, have been people just hating their lives, just miserable at the hands they've been dealt. And I get it. You've been dealt some crap cards. Try to keep it PG with the language. I know. I sometimes cuss like a sailor, but I'm trying to get better at that. Oh, never mind. Well, anyway, I see these people and they're miserable, and I understand. It is hard. Life is hard. But I'm begging you, just put the effort into feeling better. You don't have to go along with, some poor guy, cystic fibrosis, is just, just always in pain and just nothing good happening in his life, and he just can't find anything. But he is putting himself, it's awful having that, I think it was cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy or something. I'm sorry, I forgot the exact thing he said. You have to find that beauty. God doesn't want to watch you suffer. But there is lessons that you can learn in that. Take those lessons and use them to build a happier mindset, a positive mindset. And you will find that even in the hardest times like I am in the pain, the constant pain, you will find your life is amazing. God bless everybody. I'll talk to you soon.